one of the hardest things for us to actually do. Us to be transparent, vulnerable, and share with people the chinks in our armor.
Right.
And so what led to that? What made you decide to just bear it all in front of the world? Why didn't you just leave that behind the scenes only between you and Symone?
Because I had been doing that for a long time and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted and those that I loved and loved me wanted. So it was an opportunity to call myself to the carpet, right? And to free myself of all of the traps that I've allowed to keep me shackled behind who I truly am and live this kind of life where everything's great. I'm doing great. Everything's great. I've got all this stuff going for me and I've just got it going on and all figured out. And I had got to a crossroads in my life. It had been building for quite a while. And quite honestly, I had almost did a video like that. I just didn't press record about 6 to 8 months prior to that one. Yeah. Really did.
What was happening at that time for you that almost led to that?
It was some relational stuff with me and her.
Oh,
yeah. It was the same thing.
Yeah, it was the exact same issue.
Listen, hey guys, welcome to Little Black Button 91. Yes, the chest is out. Since you guys always talk about me bringing out my chest for Symone, I thought I'd bring it out for Symone and for Rashid. You get some chest today. But listen, we're going to talk to you guys, obviously, about Ready to Love. Well, talking about Rashid and Symone. I'm giving you guys a full breakdown. Don't watch the background. I've been trying to pack my stuff and it looks a bit messy behind me. But anyway, and so the craziness about this situation is I wanted to break it all the way down. So we're going to do part 1, part 2, part 3 probably. I won't do it all in one night. So you get a little bit of everything going on as well, right? But I wanted to just break down this particular situation because I wanted to take it in fullness because I think there's a lot to actually explore. When I did the 1 hour breakdown, I try to focus on main key points I heard in that thing. Now I'm going to break it all the way down, take it bit by bit, slowly by slowly, so we can actually really grasp one of the themes and some of the things that were actually happening in that particular conversation with Latirius and Symone and Rashid. So listen, if you like a full breakdown, this is where you need to be. We're going to take our time. We're going to unearth things. We're going to take it slow. We're going to go deep into the situation. Okay. So listen, it's going to be mad. Okay. All right. It's going to be mad tonight. We're going to break it down. Then then later on, we're going to be on RTL. We're going to be talking about Ready to Love super panel. So make sure you check us out then as well. Do me a massive favor. There is 200 people in this room. Okay, I've been told, I've been berated, I have been lambasted by people to tell me I need to be more delusional, apparently. So I'm asking you guys to be delusional with me. Press that like button as well. Okay, press that like button and help me out. Get the optics right, get the analytics right. There's 200 people in that room. Raise up the likes in the room for me, please. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. Let's get it up, baby. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get it up. Someone said they like it slow. Hey, listen, however you like it, babe. I'm here to please. Listen, let's make sure the likes up and then we'll get into this particular video as well. Listen, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification, the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals, okay? You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot, okay? All right, cool, okay? Don't worry about that. I got the Thirst Trap shirt on. Okay, I want you to focus, though. Focus, okay? All right? Focus. All right? I need you to focus on what we're talking about, all right? Focus. All right, so we're talking about Ready to Love, Symone and Rashid. Let's get into this. I'm going to play a bit more of the clip and we'll get into this as well, okay? Coolly Yoli, let's play.
And other things in my life other than just our relationship, some work things, some transition of going back to work and finally committing myself to like, okay, this isn't working. Let me move forward. So in a nutshell, man, at the end of the day, me and her, I had to have a very, very tough conversation with Symone, this woman that I love. And I had to disappoint her. And I had to disappoint her for the umpteenth time. And I was tired of doing that, trying to do that to this woman that I love. She didn't deserve it. And people around me. And I just needed to call myself out publicly because I said this on the video is I show you all the good stuff and everything's popping. I show you this. I'm here. I'm in this car. I'm flying here. Waiting for da 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 da. So, and I'm doing that subconsciously to make myself feel better. And I know people at home that sometimes look to social media for their life or their guidance. I'm making them feel bad at their expense when I don't got it going on like I appear. So why not tell them the real truth since I'm going to show off I'm gonna show you my warts and expose myself. And then there's no turning back from that.
So when you
All right, cool. So first thing first, the interesting thing is obviously the reason Rashid gives us the first reason why he decided to actually give us the video that he did. So he tells us that obviously, you know, he had to come clean because he wanted to hold himself accountable. He wanted to be accountable, I guess, by putting it out there. It exposed the shame and exposed the sin, quote unquote, to say, expose the sin, expose the bad behavior, expose the behavior that wasn't beneficial for the relationship. He exposed it to the world. Now, I want to make it very interesting as well, okay? And I think someone sent me an email as well. Shout out to them as well. I mean, I kind of already knew a little bit about his ADHD, but I never went deep into it. And they kind of broke it down a little bit more. But I think his ADHD makes him impulsive. Now, what's really interesting is that I'm impulsive too. Listen, I'm a person. If I put it on the net, I'm gonna explain it too. I'll hold myself accountable through the internet as well, because you know you're my family, you're my people. Them, you know, you're my you know, you are you know, the people that I share this space with. And so I also understand that with Rashid, he's thinking from himself in the space of, if I put it out there, it means I have to do it. I can't hide in the shadows any longer. I can't hide behind anything. I literally have to make sure that I do what I actually say. So I actually understand the mind frame of him putting it out in public. Now, it might have been a little bit rushed. And it's really interesting. I watched Swagger the other day, the TV show Swagger, and the main character, Jace, you know, impulsively went onto TikTok and started sharing about the incident that they said they weren't going to talk about. And it's really interesting that in the same measure, as human beings, we do feel this impulse to want to solve an issue immediately. And sometimes patience isn't our first virtue to run to. Sometimes patience isn't taken because we don't want to have to wait to be able to make a move, because it feels like we're doing nothing and it feels like we're not actually using our time wisely. But the reality is sometimes waiting is also important. Sometimes waiting is really good for you because actually it gives you the opportunity to scope the land, be objective, and kind of see your different options. So I do understand. Okay, I do understand where he's coming from. Let's watch a bit more. Okay, we're gonna pay attention as well.
decide to share with Symone your state of your finances, and she was very privy to what you had going on, but not to the degree of this violation that occurred. I watched Symone do a video where she talked about how she knew about your finance, she knew the state of your income, and said, "Let me go ahead and rally behind my man. Let us go dispute some past debt that he had. Even helped to have about, what you say, Symone, about $10,000 worth of debt forgiven."
Oh yeah, yeah, I won that trial.
Yes,
And then I won that trial.
She did.
I went on.
The power of dating. The power of dating.
Now, I think we touched on this on our short break. If you remember, we touched on this on our short video. And on our short video, we touched about this, saying about how, you know, when she said about winning the trial, that when she won the trial, as you heard, she said, "I won." Notice we didn't win. I won. And she said, "I won all the trials I've done." Now, of course, she's relating to some of the other trials that she's actually done, but she's also talking about herself in this scenario with Rashid. Let's just quickly I want to quickly scoot it back a little bit just to kind of pick up on that little motion there again.
How she knew about your finance, she knew the state of your income, and said, "Let me go ahead and rally behind my man. Let us go dispute some past
First of all, I want to make it very, very clear. There is nothing wrong with disputing there is nothing wrong with supporting a man or a woman, knowing that there are some weaknesses to their game in the relationship. There is nothing wrong with that. That is life. That is relationships. The Bible says you cover a multitude of sin. Love covers a multitude of sins. As a relationship partner, there's nothing wrong with you covering your partner in areas of weakness. Now, when those weaknesses become destructive, we've got a different situation. Right? We've got a very different situation, and it's within reason. So if you decide to go and tell a lie that's going to cause us trouble, yeah, that might not be the time I cover you, because if I lie as well too, this potentially can, you know, lead to further problems down the hill. But in this instance where there is a partnership where finances potentially could be one of those things, yeah, I can understand why Symone might have started off that way and started off by helping him. and helping him course correct. There's a fine line between course correcting and kind of overtaking and doing too much within the relationship as well, right?
Debt that he had, even helped to have about, what you say, Symone, about $10,000 worth of debt forgiven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now listen to what he said. He's been specific about the $10,000 debt that he had. Remember, he had a debt that was actually meant to be paid. He was meant to pay it. No, this was a debt that he should have been paying, because he racked it up. This wasn't no fake debt, or this wasn't like the company trying to take him for a mug or idiot. This was actual debt he actually needed to do, and she, on his behalf, won the case for him. Now, I wish I could have invited Married 10 Years, because she did a good breakdown as well. She spoke about how at this point in time with Symone, that if she went to court, she would have also potentially would have won her court fees and recouped her own kind of time and energy spent in terms of helping Rashid. Now, what I think is very key about this is, I said the wording is what's key for me, because once the question is asked about the 10,000 debt that he has hanging over him, the language is about I. There's a pride in the I. There's a pride in her doing something or winning this particular case, but it doesn't relate it back to we or back to Rashid. She starts off with the I, and then she becomes conscious of the fact that in that moment she mentioned herself and didn't relate it back to Rashid. I think it's a very split second thing. If you're a human being, okay, as a human being, there are split second, milliseconds thought processes within your mind. There are a million thoughts that can go in at one point in time, right? That the subconscious can come to the consciousness. Okay, so when the subconscious comes to the consciousness, you can think so many different thoughts. And I believe that in that moment, literally, Symone literally had that, that particular moment in her mind where her language, she realizes, whoa, the language is selfish. Let me change it, because actually it wasn't about me, it was about him. But let me tell you something. It was very true to what she actually felt. Oftentimes people use language to convey how they feel. The Bible says, out of the heart, the issues of life flow, right? But also we are judged by the words that we speak, and the words that our words can free us and the words can condemn us, as the Bible says. And out of our mouth that speaks is from our heart. And so when you really deep it, her using I is very conscious and very unpurposeful. Now, I think she caught herself, and then she kind of changed.
Yeah, I won that trial.
Yes,
And then I won that trial.
she did.
I won all of it. Yeah.
The power of
For
dating,
him.
the power of dating an attorney.
Right.
And so she rallied behind you. She did all that. What caused the disconnect? And I'm gonna put a link to the video that you that you did on Ages and Stages page and y'all's link, so people can go. I don't want to go into the weeds of all of that.
Sure,
Y'all
sure.
already shared
We
all
got
that.
backstory.
But I want to give people context on this episode. What happened in that moment? So what did he share with you in that moment for the bottom to fall out y'all's relationship?
So it was interesting, and I have to say, I'm sure it's very confusing for him, because it happened so fast, but it happened so deeply. So
Now, this is really interesting as well, because I think, as I said earlier on, you heard what Symone said. She said, I won this, and then she changed it, and then she added the I want it for him. Notice how now, when they're talking about what happened in the relationship, why the relationship has broken down, and why we're at the place we're at, notice the language shifts. She instantly puts a perspective of on Rashid. The question was, why did you guys get to the point where you get to right now, right? Her first instinct is to go to a perspective that he may be confused. She begins to empathize, right? So I'm not saying, she wasn't able to empathize with him at all. No, she was. It's just very conscious behavior that we do as human beings. Her immediate response in this point in moment is to empathize with his particular viewpoint, and said, I think I can see how it would be very confusing for him, right? So her first answer to the question isn't, hey, this is what happened, I felt like this, but actually her first perspective is actually to see from Rashid's point, because I think she feels like she did some wrong here. I'm not saying she actually did anything wrong, but she definitely feels, I believe, that she did some wrong here. And so so to soften the blow a little bit and to make it understandable, she says, hey, I understand where he's coming from. He might be a little bit confused because I changed my mind. That's where she's going to. Let's play a little bit.
Oh, it was the Thursday. He came in the room and he was like, hey, some things are on my mind. I need to talk to you. I can't go forward with a wedding like this. Like, I can't marry you in this context. I remember he said, in this context. I was like, what the hell? What context are we discussing? He was like, there's some things I had concerns about. So he led with things that I needed to work on as a person. And then he went into, and he said, I love you. I want to marry you one day.
Now, I just need to make sure, did she mean, when he said he led with the things that she needs to work on, does she mean what he needs to work on or what she needs to? I just didn't catch that. Let me just catch that again. Hold on. I just want to catch it.
Can't go forward with a wedding like this. Like, I can't marry you in this context. I remember he said, in this context. I was like, what the hell? What context are we discussing? He was like, there's some things I had concerns about. So he led with things that I needed to work on as a person.
Things that I need to, I think she meant, I think he spoke about her, right? If I'm correct, I might have been. I think when he said about there's some things that she needs to work on, I think she's talking about herself when he said, when he was leading the conversation. I'm not sure, because she pointed at herself as well. So I'm not sure. It's not all the way clear, and I don't want to make it 100%. But I would say that if it is that he was kind of pointing at her, that's interesting, right? So there's things that he wanted her to work on, and I think that's backed up because later on when we watched it, there are some things, there are some things that he kind of alluded to, later on the actual episode. So it's interesting to see, like her now kind of coming out and speaking on it. And again, she's taking the lead to answer the question. Have you noticed again once more? She's taking the lead to answer the question. Now, of course, some people are more drawn to having a conversation, more ready to answer questions. But of course, we've watched the interview. She again is leading again once more in terms of trying to answer the question, almost as if like not to. And this is not a control aspect. I don't think it's control. I think it's more about almost doing damage limitation. Say it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as bad as it is. It's almost like she's, and I think someone said this about almost trying to paint the brush over the thing to say, look, hey, there are some bad things, but it's not as bad as you may think it is. And she almost painting the cracks over as well a little bit, right? So it's like almost as if when she tells a story, she has to tell it in a way that, it's not as bad as it may seem, but there's some things.
And then he went into, and he said, I love you. I want to marry you one day, but I can't do it like this. He said, I really think we should elope. My buddy's going to give us a private jet. We can hire a photographer, have them come with it, chronicle it. That way we could share it with loved ones. And I was like, oh, baby, that's a great idea. And I was like, you sure? I was crying, but then I was happy. I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. He was like, because I had always said, I'm okay with eloping if we have to.
Right.
But for me, when I say have to.
Now pause there, because before we get to that eloping part, what's also interesting is the fact that if he did approach her, okay, if he did approach her and said, obviously, I can't marry in this context, but one of his points was, here's the stuff that you need to work on, then is the marriage not going forward because of money alone? It's not going forward because of things she needs to work on, right? So they're not going forward with the marriage because not only is he not working on stuff, she needs to work on stuff. So there are other issues which, that she needed, that he may have felt about the situation. Yeah. You see what I'm saying to you? Yeah. I think there are other issues with underlining that pertain to that as well.
What I mean is because there's family strife or people don't have passports and not enough people can get there. I don't mean because we can't afford it. Because at my big age, if I can't afford a $17,000 wedding, I have no business being married.
Now, what's interesting here? Okay, I have to break everything down. Number one is tone. So when she first starts, she starts off, it starts off by saying, starts off by saying about eloping, and you know what, she wanted to elope at first, and then she thought about it, and then she realized, you know, she realized in that situation, someone said bring on the ex of Rashid. They would kill me. But then yeah, no, the aspects of the situation here where she's about eloping, and then if you notice what she does as a body language, she starts talking about eloping, and then as she breaks it down, saying why eloping wouldn't be good for her, she does something really interesting. She breaks the fourth wall. Right? He breaks the fourth wall. Right? So if you just watch it again, just watch what she does. She lets us know that she's there, that we're there, and that we're on her mind. This is what.
So that's an interesting take on it. You say if you can't afford a $17,000 wedding, then you have no business being married. Unpack that.
I mean, us.
I know it.
Let me just go slide. There we go. Touch me, tease me.
But for me, when I say have to, what I mean is because there's family strife, or people don't have passports and not enough people can get there. I don't mean because we can't afford it. Because at my big age, if I can't afford a $17,000 wedding,
watch what she
I have
does.
no business being married.
Who's she looking
And
at?
I had no business being married.
Answer that.
So she looks directly at the camera because she's looking at you. Now it's really interesting that she does that, because all the strength that we see here gets kind of lost later on down the show. But I think also she's making that point that, listen, if I can't afford to have a late marriage, I don't need to be here. And it's almost like she's making the point to you, to us and the audience, and saying, hey, you shouldn't either. You shouldn't be in a situation where you getting married, okay, and you ain't, you know, you can't afford the wedding. So you know what I mean? So it's not just saying her, it's not just saying about, you know, about the eloping aspect. She's also drawing us into the situation too, by saying, hey, you guys too, hey, you see me, I have no business getting married. You have no business getting married. Okay, all right, because she breaks character in this instance. She breaks the conversation between herself and Latirius and Rashid, and turns to the audience, almost as if she's playing this other character who's breaking the fourth walls. Okay. Now, someone said it as well, very great point, which is that, you know, the elopement would have just been a band-aid to the actual issue. And I believe that's absolutely true. And it's why I said they shouldn't be together, because the band-aid, the eloping doesn't solve the critical root issue. There are critical root issues that go with Rashid and the way that he behaves. But I think there's also things that, hold on. Sorry, I think there's also things with Symone that needs to be worked on as well, that these two are going to have to work on if they're ever going to be together again. But they're going to do that separately, and then they can come back together again if they believe that the right time and the right season is there for them.
So that's an interesting take on it. You say if you can't afford a $17,000 wedding, then you have no business being married. Unpack that.
I mean, us.
I know it.
And our situation.
If combined,
so
if you can't afford to have, because some people just say, well, we're going to.
And to be fair to Symone in this instance, when he doubles down on a question, she actually says us. So she is letting him know that it's I'm still in this with you. I have to be fair to Symone. She hasn't made herself separate from the situation. She says, I want to be fair and say, hey, it is an us thing, right? So if we can't afford it, and that's a little bit of covering that she did for Rashid. I'm not going to be mad at it. I think that was her covering for Rashid by saying us in this moment, because we already know she can't afford it. Okay, all right. So that's the reality of the situation, right? Okay.
Go to the courthouse, so that definitely costs $17,000. Are you saying that if we don't have the disposable income of $17,000 to spend on a wedding, that what does that mean?
No, what I'm saying is, in our household, we prioritize certain things,
Right?
And we save for what we want to save for, and we pay the bills that are priorities,
Right?
And if we were engaged, we were engaged for a year. Today would have been a year. He proposed to me on this day.
Really?
Last year.
Hold on this day
Best
for real?
day of my life.
Wow.
Best day of my life. Gone.
Now, what's really interesting about this situation is the way that I know a lot of people think that a lot of people might think that Symone is theatrical, and she is. Let's not lie about that. I think what happens with Symone when I watch these things, and I know a lot of people might think she might be acting. I think what happens is that Symone is so used to playing, and I want to try and keep it as as fair as possible, and try to believe everybody's being real. Okay, I do believe that with Symone, she plays a very strong character, and I think at points in time she breaks character. That strength disappears. You know, it may not look great. It may not look like what traditionally somebody should break down and cry about. I do believe that, but she is a theatrical person. And so, yes, her breakdown may be more theatrical than others, but it doesn't mean it's any less authentic. It just means that when we read it, it does feel a little bit inauthentic because we're seeing the theatrical aspect of it. But I definitely believe that the points where she is emotional and she does feel that way that she does, and she is feeling the sadness and the loss of the situation. I just think to myself that sometimes, when you're fighting your strength and you're fighting I need to be strong, I need to be brave, I need to put on a good face. And I think at points in time that character breaks. I think that character breaks as well. Okay, so I think that's a real thing as well for her.
Because I wasn't worth saving $1,000 a month over the course of the year.
Now, Rashid's face is killing me. Hey, listen. If there was a voiceover, he would say, "Oh, he said this nigga." No, oh, just but like, see, let me just play it bigger so you guys can see it. Like his face, it was absolutely, it was funny. I can't lie to you. Why is this thing not working? I want to touch it. All right, what's okay? What's this?
Gone. Because I wasn't worth saving $1,000 a month.
No, what? Pause. I want you to see something. Did you notice the eyebrow change? And I told you I'm gonna break everything down today. It's a full breakdown. Did you notice the eyebrow change? Okay, when she starts crying, it's fine, right? I'm gonna go back. I want you to see it again. Okay, all right. I just want you to just see it again. Watch what's happening here. Okay, watch what's happening. He's not agreeing with her breakdown. I'm honestly telling you, little things like this are interesting when you watch it slowly and watch it happen. Okay, watch now. Okay, we're gonna play it. Now watch his face now. It's cool now. She's crying, but watch his face now. He's a little bit disassociated at the moment. He's kind of staring into face, probably thinking.
Because I wasn't worth saving.
Now she starts saying about I wasn't worth saving £1,000 for. He may not say anything, but his facial expressions are about to tell us 1,000 things. So watch this.
$1,000 a month.
Boom. His eyebrows narrow instantly. Right? He's like, wait, what the hell? Now, when he's gone from, kind of staring into space, and then she goes, oh, I'm not worth saving £1,000 for. He's like, huh? Nigga, what? This nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing too much, Symone, because that's not the truth. That's not what it actually is. But to her, that's how she feels, but that's not what he actually felt. That's what happened. Okay? All right? But that his face told you everything. He said, "This nigga." Like, you ever seen that the video with the father and the son, and unfortunately the black boy and the father and the black dad, where the son has lost his friends unfortunately at a shooting, and then the father's like, that is officially what happened there. He's like, you know what I mean? So anyway, okay. Watch this.
Month over the course of the year.
Ooh, baby, the way you make me feel. It really turns me on. I don't know why I'm singing that song, but do you see that? What his face? So he's gone from staring into space, what, to this nigga. you get what I'm saying to you? Baby. You know what I mean? the way you make me feel. You know what I mean? Like he's like, what? Oh, she is doing the most, you know. So yes, I love that point, Styles P. That's exactly what I think that's a perfect way to describe it. She's explaining how she felt versus what actually happened, and to him, what he felt, that's not, I'm sorry, what he feels happened is not in alignment with what she felt happened. And this doesn't mean that either of them are wrong. It just means that he doesn't agree with the way that she's breaking her particular side down, right? You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily mean that any of them is wrong. It just means that when he's listening, he's like, you're putting 2 on 10 right now, because you downright know that you're worth saving £1,000 for. I just had other things come up. That's all. So to her, it looks like, and this is what happens in relationships. To me, the meaning that I apply your behavior is based upon my experiences of the past and my beliefs. And to you, the way you apply the meaning to my behavior is based on your experiences and your beliefs. And so, unfortunately, but fortunately, they can have 2 different experiences of the same situation, because they can see what factually happened, but how it made me feel, the way you make me feel, is different. And when we talk about feelings are a lasting impression. See, feelings are different from emotions. Let's quickly just break this down, you know. Feelings are different from emotions. When we talk about feelings, we talk about this lasting impression. It lasts longer than emotions, and it's based on our past experiences, as well as our present situation as well. And we interpret a perception onto that particular thing that we call feelings. But when you talk about emotions, you're talking about your natural reaction as a stimuli to certain events, right? Now, of course, emotions can also be quote unquote learned due to certain experiences that you had, but the reality of the situation, more time, it's instinctual the way you react to something. It can still be learned, but I'm just saying when you react as an emotion, it can be instinctual. You know what I mean? So when you talk about the feelings, when we talk about the feelings here, we can have 2 different sets of feelings here, right? We can have 2 sets of feelings going on. We can even have contradictory feelings at this moment. So when someone asks how are you feeling, it is a current mood. Do you know what I'm saying to you, right? I'm feeling down a little bit today, right? Now that down is not necessarily an emotion, but you could say I'm feeling down and I'm feeling a little bit sad. And then we can ask, okay, why are you feeling down, and why are you particularly feeling that emotional sadness? What's contributing towards making you feel a little bit of sadness? And then you can describe what the stimuli is. Okay, so from there, right? Okay, cool. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation. Okay, all right.
It was not a priority. And I'm speaking on how I am feeling on it. That may not be your truth, but I feel.
You felt like you wasn't prioritized.
Now, she obviously made it again clear. That's how she felt on it, but she acknowledges that may not be how he felt about it. Now, I don't know if she noticed his facial expression or not, or whether he had a different viewpoint, but that was literally how she felt. And so I think her feeling is her interpretation of what the scenario is. So when she talks about it, feels like this guy couldn't even save £1,000, you know, a month to support me. That's her feeling. And oftentimes when I talk about men and women, I talk about the arguments that men and women have. I said to them, women are going to oftentimes tap into that feeling. And so when I get that feeling, anyway, and so and that's why I think someone, I don't know, the person who said it said a powerful line where they said, you know, people remember how you made them feel. And so that feeling is what's most important. And that's what she remembers. It felt like you didn't really care about the situation. And oftentimes the arguments that couples are having is about how I felt rather than actually what it is. See, what you do can impact the person, but it's the lasting effect of what you did and how the person interprets what you did into making their feelings. Okay. All right. Listen, guys, we're at a 40-minute mark. I want you to do a massive, massive favor. We've got 536 people in this room. That's crazy, and I love it. I would love for you guys also do me a massive favor, like the goddamn live. Sorry, Lord, I keep saying goddamn, and that's really bad. I shouldn't say it. Like the live, guys. Okay, if you're here in this room, let's get the likes up. Okay, can I get a like up? Let's get a like up. Okay, let's get the likes up, guys. Okay, all right. Press the like button for me. All right, and let's get those likes up as well. Someone said Maya Angelou is one who said, okay, fair enough. Maya Angelou. I hope I'm saying it right because I know me. I'll be killing everybody's name. Okay, get the likes up, guys. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Okay. All right. We've got 530 people in this room. Let's get those likes up, please, if you haven't done so already. Okay. All right. We appreciate you. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's let's get back into this video as well.
To save $1,000 a month. Rashid, touch on that.
Wow. Okay. So
now notice he says the first words he says is wow. Why? Because he doesn't agree with the way she said it. It's you said it in a big way, sis. He's like, you know what? That was kind of large the way you broke it down. Okay.
In the spirit of tough conversations, we had tough conversations very early on. I was very adamant about that when we started dating and became serious.
Mm-hmm.
So on our YouTube channel, we did a background check. And talked about those things, and that was all real. And she knew a lot of things that I was dealing with that came over prior to her, that I was in trying to dissolve. Right, it's just taking longer than I would anticipate. And then, so she understood that. She understood what I brought into the relationship. And I was almost, and I joked about it a lot, saying, hey, she would almost act like I was trying for her not to like me. But because I was really real, so she knew what she was getting into, right? And then she would just.
Now that's really interesting. He says obviously that he was very transparent to the point where it felt like that it felt like that he was being so transparent that it felt like he almost didn't like her. You know what I mean? So that was also quite essential as well. I think that's probably also what enlisted the trust from Symone. He has been very, I think that's been also a very deep transparency and vulnerability. He's been open to a certain point that she was able to trust him. And, listen, whether we agree with it or not, I believe that's what he's kind of expressing, that he's definitely been so vocal about the things that he's facing. That's what allowed her also to trust and say, okay, well, he's been so open and vacant about everything he's going through. I guess I can trust him, right? But then obviously other things are going to start happening, which is going to obviously affect that trust. So let's go a bit further.
Oh, I know. You're an entrepreneur. You just started a business. I know you broke. I decided to proceed while we were dating, right? And then with that, I had started a new business since the pandemic and doing what I was doing, and still had this overhead that I had not fully gotten rid of yet, right?
Now, interesting enough, this part is disputed by Symone immediately. I want you to just watch something. I'm going to go slightly back. You have to catch it. It's real quick. You got to catch it. It's real quick because it happens so quickly. I'm going to try and stop it in time. When he starts saying about he started a new business, he starts by saying he has a new business that he started and he had a lot of overheads. Watch Symone's head movement. Okay, watch her head movement.
While we were dating, right? And then with that, I had started a new business since the pandemic and doing what
So she's nodding her head there saying, yeah, he started a new business.
I was doing and still had this overhead that I had not.
She said, Negro. Negro now, Negro. Now you said you had a business, but you said you had some overhead. She said, nigga, I don't know. You gonna tell her? She said, nigga, you now, she said, you said you had overheads, but did you say that really? Did you let me know? That's exactly what that head tilt was. Did you see that head tilt? Y'all catch it? She said, let's see if I can zoom a little bit closer. Okay, yeah, I can. Let me just, okay, I want you to, because it is a bit fast still. Let me just catch it for you guys. Look.
While we were dating, right? And then with that, I had started a new business since the pandemic and doing what I was doing and still had this overhead that I had not fully gotten rid of yet, right? So the fact
she said, Overhead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That she felt that she wasn't worthy enough for that money for me to save X amount of whatever the total was be. Is a bit disappointing to hear but that's her truth. For
Now, pause there. We definitely now know he's contradicting that truth because he just said there straight away. He said, listen, it is a little bit disappointing to hear that's what she's saying. So he doesn't agree or like the narrative that she brought about not being able to save £1,000 a month to contribute towards a wedding. Now, of course, part of it's factually true. He actually didn't save the money for the wedding. Whether he saved 1,000, whether it was 5,000 a month, didn't really matter. The 1,000 is just more of a figure, but in reality, he didn't save the money that was needed. But he doesn't like the way she put it across and doesn't agree with, because it's her feelings. And that's the problem with feelings. I can't tell you no to your feelings, but at the same time, I don't want to be locked in, and I don't want to, I don't want to, be locked and be castrated, or confined by your feelings. You know what I mean? So I can understand that point, right?
For me, it was at that point she moved in with me. She didn't pay a bill. She had a roof over her head, and we were angling towards marriage. And I showed her quite. If we want to talk about the monetary side of things, I showed her with the ring that I bought her. That's insured. So when you
okay, so that ring ain't cheap. Okay, so definitely listen. I think that's why he's a little bit frustrated, right? Because clearly he put the money down for a ring, which was a lot of money. So he has, and I've always said this as well. Rashid ain't broke. Rashid is not a broke person, and he can make money. Okay, he can make money. Somewhere along the line, priorities get mashed up. Somewhere along the line, priorities get mashed up because he can buy a ring that was a lot of money, but where is the money for the wedding? Okay, right?
you hear those things as a man, it's like, okay.
And it's interesting as well that she showed the ring to the audience. She was like, bam, here the ring at. Okay, so this ring now is a symbolism of the work that he's put in. But unfortunately, without the wedding, it kind of, it's half the job being done, right? But I noticed how Symone, aired the ring and showed us as well. She's very proud of the ring and, of the ring that he bought. And we really know that she said she ain't going to give the ring back. So until she feels like he's stable or gives it to the son, whatever. That's what she said. So I understand that point.
Got you. This is what we think, and this is what I want to do. And let's have this wedding. I propose. Let's plan it out, and let's talk about how we want to do that. So the tough times is when I'm not completely transparent, like I've got it all figured out, right? And that's where the hurt comes from her, because I will say this: she kept telling me, "Let me know if you don't have X, Y, Z. Let me know.
Said that.
Give me." So I'm not disappointed, and I would say, "No, I got it. I got it. I got it."
At
Now,
what stage? What stage was she
this
saying
was,
that?
this was because we had to, and again, in full transparency, we had an initial date planned in April,
Right.
And when we get down to April, we're doing all these other things pre-show of us, me proposing on the show. We spent other funds for like an engagement party, all kinds of stuff we spent money on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't towards the wedding, but it was gearing up to the wedding. And we had decided to film a lot of the stuff that we're going through because a lot of people want to see it. So with that came the financial infidelity, is what she likes to claim it as.
Now, what's interesting is that he says again, language-wise. Now, she's obviously, what's interesting as well is the way her body language is shifted too, right? Her body language here is shifted. She's now hunched over, put her hand on her fist as well, right? As he's talking about the wedding and breaking it down. I guess this part is a bit heavy for Symone, or a bit sad for her. I'm not sure, but you know, she's gone into this position. But then he just lets us know in this part where he says, let me just replay it a little bit there, so you just catch on what he said. Here we go.
We spent other funds for like an engagement party, all kinds of stuff. We spent money on. Right?
Wait, pause. Ooh, baby, I didn't even see that the first time round. Guys, watch this. I'm gonna go slightly back. We ain't gonna miss a heartbeat today. I tell you this for sure. We are not gonna miss a heartbeat today. I can promise you. Okay, I want you to watch this.
Get down to April. We're doing all these other things show of us, me proposing on the show. We spent other funds for like an engagement party, all kinds of stuff. We spent money.
Pause. He says, but we spent all kinds of money everywhere, blah, 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 for the engagement. She then cuts her eye to Latirius to say, you know them eyes where you cut it, you're like, nigga, please. I'm so sorry. I keep saying that. I know I shouldn't be, but she cut her eye, like, you can see, look, it's an eye roll, like, we spent what, nigga? We didn't spend a dime, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, that's what it's giving. It's like, we ain't spent nothing. Okay? We ain't spent enough. Like, you know, this nigga talking about we spending money on engagement. We ain't spend nothing. You know what I mean? That's almost like the kind of energy to give it at that moment. All right? So, it's just,
on, right? And it wasn't towards the wedding, but it was gearing up to the wedding, and we had decided to film.
And then that's then proceeding to now the head on the chin on the chin on the hand strap. It's giving that there's more to the story, or at least she is giving more to the story. Okay, all right, that she's giving more to the story. Like, it's giving that there's more to the story for her. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying for her, it's giving there's more to the story. You know what I mean? In that moment. So yeah, I'm not saying it is, but that's what it feels like what she's saying. Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
A lot of stuff that we're going through because a lot of people want to see it. So with that came the financial infidelity, is what, you know, she likes to claim it as, which is true, because when you do things that the other person don't know fully about and you're supposed to be teammates, I wasn't being a good teammate. Right. So with that was kind of, that started to happen. And
so was it, when you say financial infidelity, was it something that y'all had agreed upon? Hey, I remember her saying something like, everything of a purchase is going to take place over $1,000. We need to discuss that. And so everything below $1,000, then, you know, we're adults, we can make a sound decision on it. And so was that what you're referring to about the financial infidelity?
Not necessarily, because we talked about that. We talked about that more so when we actually got married. And that would be kind of a yes.
Yeah. Nah, not her picking up on the fact that he said when we got married. Did y'all hear that? I think it was a slip of the tongue. I think it was a Freudian slip. But, you know, just, whoa, what was that? You know what I mean? Did you hear it? Because she was that way, got married. Hold on.
Was that what you're referring to about the financial infidelity?
Not necessarily. Because we talked about that. We talked about that more so when we actually got married. And that would be kind of a yes.
You're talking about, you said if y'all were to get married, then
once we got married, we talked about, okay, because now we're going to be combining funds. We're going to have a joint account, right?
Because it sounds like he's almost saying like we are married. Do you know what I'm saying to you? That's why she was like, got married. And he doesn't even deep it. Like, she's correcting him and he doesn't even deep it. You know, but I know what he meant. Yes, once you got married, but it's the way he was kind of saying it. You know, it sounded like that. So yeah, that's, you know, but I could see how it could easily be misconstrued and be like, wait, y'all married? Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then you have two personals. Right. And then we said, okay, let's make this pact. If you spend X amount of dollars, I think it was $1,000 over that, then we have to tell each other that. We have to know each other that. So I was like,
Symone can't help herself. She about to jump right back in there and trying to argue the case. She said, you ain't gonna win this case.
I agreed to that. But that was more so as moving towards our nuptials, as getting married, and we start to save for the wed team.
So what was the financial infidelity?
So it was.
Hold on, there's another rule that.
Okay, so she hasn't let him finish. So they've stopped now and paused. if it would have been better for her to let him finish the point and then hit him up after, so that he can fully get the full thought out, and then we can break it down.
It was very
Anyway.
significant here.
Go ahead.
That is important. We had another rule because I was putting in all this effort to help dig him out.
Now pause there. Did you notice that she was like, because I was putting so much effort to help dig him out? Yay. Okay, so we've gone back to the I again, but it's the tone, not necessarily what's been said. It's more the tone. Because I was putting all this effort in again, that's why. So it's the tone rather than actually what she said that kind of makes it heavy.
And I saw him, he was in credit repair and stuff like that. But he always had some new thing he wanted to do, a new project he wanted to explore. And I said, you're not taking out any debt that you can't qualify on your own. If they're not going to give it to you, it's because we can't afford it. And I said,
definitely true, because he nodded his head and he was like, yep, I hear you.
Either that you can't get on your own or that I can't co-sign for you.
He's nodding his head again. He's agreeing to what she said. It's the truth.
Because if it was something that I supported, I would co-sign for you. And he did not do that. He went and got $126,000 vehicle.
So he's looking at her again like, yeah, she obviously look at her face smiling. So she said obviously there was meant to be a co-signing of any more future debts that they would have. She would have to co-sign it, and if she agreed with it, then it worked. But she's saying, but that didn't happen because it was a purchase of a vehicle. Let's see what he's got to say.
Behind my back.
So I didn't get behind her back.
Now that pause there, he said that did not happen. So immediately when she says that, he said, hey, what you're not gonna do is you're gonna tell a story halfway. That didn't happen. And this is where the narrative then begins to shift, where he says this car wasn't actually at the time when you and I were together, right? This car was bought before, and etc. So let's get into it.
Back. See, this is where our disconnect is.
This is how I feel.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what happened then?
Now, here's my thing, though. This is not an instance of feeling. This is actual fact. We can actually prove it. Either he bought the car before you guys had this conversation about co-signing for debt, or he bought this car before the situation happened, right? This shouldn't be a feeling. This should be a fact. Yeah. Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
unpack that. You said behind your back.
Yeah.
What was that?
So that's not the case.
Okay.
So I'm in the car business.
Now she's smiling and saying, okay, if that's not the case, then, all right, prove it then, basically. Almost kind of energy.
Everybody knows that. And I had multiple cars. This is me trying to dig out of debt from prior to her, right? Had multiple cars I used to use and rent out and make money. So at a certain point, they were no longer making money. And I had to get one back from a gentleman that I had owner finance from. So then I had my own car, right? So as the financial issues were still waning, because I'm still working for myself at the time, I was negative in one car and I was positive in another. But I had these two cars I'm trying to get down to one. So versus me not having the money a lump sum of money to cover the negative, I had one with positive equity, right? So I told her
the car that you
Now she's smiling here as you see her face, and her leg did a little wiggle. She's basically saying, now boy, that's not the full story. That's not, you telling it like that, but you sure that's what you're saying?
you had, or the
yes,
car
the car that I had.
the car you
one
had
that
was
the
positive.
right.
The repo was negative.
Exactly, right? So I told her, babe, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take both.
Okay, so he actually told her as well, that is what he's going to do. So that's why I said, is it a fact or a feeling? It should be straight. There should be no, that's not how I felt. It should be a fact, or it should be a fact. And that's about it. Either he did it before or he did it after. And straight up, did he have a conversation with you? He said, yes, he's had a conversation with you. So you're aware, right?
These cars, and I'm going to trade them in for one and absorb that and not have to come out of pocket.
Okay.
So I need a car that would be that would allow me to
get the
observe
negative
right.
equity.
So she knew I was getting a car to trade two cars in to get to one, right?
I
She
did.
knew I was getting a Porsche. She knew that. She didn't know the cost of it,
Correct.
right? So
Okay, so she knew he was getting a Porsche, but not how much it actually cost. And I think that's where the feeling comes in. So this is not about the car. It's about the feeling of how much money it was, because the reason, and it's almost like, when you know when you borrow someone some money, okay? Now you guys probably don't have it anymore, but you know when you borrow somebody some money, they're supposed to pay you back, and then you see them on holiday, and you see snaps or you see Instagram stories, and you see them on holiday. What's the feeling that you feel? Now it might not have been the money. They might have bought this holiday before they even took your money. Okay, they might have literally really bought the holiday before they took your money, but it don't matter because it's the optics. You now seen them on holiday. Someone might have bought them on holiday. You wouldn't even know, but the optics are going to be mad. You're going to look at like, how are you on holiday when you should have been putting money back into my account? Yeah, why are you on holiday when my money should be in my account? So you almost don't care about the optics in terms of, don't even really care about the story behind it, because the optics are you're moving mad. How you on holiday with my money? That's all you're gonna think about. But that might not necessarily be the actual story. Most time it is.
Correct.
That's what I'm talking about. She didn't know the overall
Yes.
cost.
So you traded in which two cars to get a Porsche?
I traded in a Tesla and a Cadillac Escalade.
So you were driving which one were you driving?
The Tesla.
And so you took both of those in, got a Porsche that was 126 to absorb the negative equity. So you wouldn't be.
Hold on. Wait. What? Guys, wait. Hold on. What? Wait. Hold on. I'm confused. I want to make sure. Wait, the Tesla was Symone's, wasn't it not? Let me listen again. Did I hear what I just heard? Or am I bugging? Because I thought she had the Tesla. So did he use her Tesla to? Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna say, but baby, I was sweating for a second. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Woo, baby. Okay.
She didn't know the cost of it.
Correct.
Right. So
correct.
That's what I'm talking about. She didn't know the overall cost.
So you traded in which two cars to get a Porsche?
I traded in a Tesla and a Cadillac Escalade.
So you were driving which one were you driving?
The Tesla.
And so you took both of those in, got a Porsche that was 126 to absorb the negative equity, so you wouldn't be upside down.
Exactly. But go ahead.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. Me being the car guy trying to show off.
Now look at her face again. I'll make it bigger. Okay. Look at her face again. This is not. Look at that face. Pay attention.
Off and not have my financial house in order.
And then she looked at her nails. So now he's talking about the situation about the cars and saying he's admitting that, you know what, situation with the car situation is a bit peak. And then she smiled, and then she kind of looked at her nails. Yeah. She's waiting for her time to contradict this story.
I didn't have to get a Porsche, $126,000 car.
That's why.
So almost as if to say that was like, gotcha. You know what I mean? When you do that hand nail sign, you're basically saying, I gotcha. Because he's about to tell the story in a way that's going to make you feel like you're vindicated, right? So when she was smiling, she was like, yep, he's about to tell the story the way I know he's going to tell it, and he's going to agree with my point. Gotcha. You know what I mean? It was a gotcha moment, right? About that situation. So it's interesting to kind of watch it as well, right?
That's the issue.
That's why I want to find out. Was it
right? I didn't have to do that. Right? I could have been humbled myself and went and got something half that price.
Give me an example. You could have got what?
I could have went and got a Honda. I could have went and got a Toyota. I could have went and got a Tahoe.
You could trade in both of those cars and got that.
Because one washed out the other. Let's say one was -10 and the other one was +10.
Okay.
Right? So I did not have to go get a $126,000 Porsche. That's where the infidelity portion where she's talking about the money side of it. She didn't know the cost, and then now the subsequent monthly payment I would have to pay to maintain.
Okay, so I think what's happened, what I'm hearing, okay, the Porsche itself isn't the issue, but what's the issue is the money. Okay, the Porsche itself isn't the issue. The issue is the amount of money. So let me give you an example, right? Let's say you need to put money down for You need to put, like she said, you need to put $1,000 down for the wedding, right? But your car payment is it's about to be 3K, 4K. So if you traded in the cars, okay, and this is where the issue is coming from. If you traded in the cars to get another car for your personal use or whatever, for business use, whatever, if you're paying 3 or 4K a month on that car, you could have got a smaller car, which would have given you 1,000, which would have then allowed you to have £1,000 a month to put towards the wedding. That's the issue. That's the camel that broke the. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. Right? That's the straw that broke the camel's back. And so what she's saying is, I think what I understand a bit more better now is, wait, hold on a minute. You went and got a Porsche, no problem, but now you couldn't afford the wedding. You had an opportunity to merge the cars together, get a smaller model, a different car or a cheaper car, and your money would have been enough to then pay every month. That's why she said it feels like you don't really care enough, because in that moment you had an opportunity business-wise and you still decided to choose an expensive car. So I understand that. Okay.
What was the monthly payment on that thing?
It's like $2,000.
Okay.
No, it is $2,800.
So it was $2,000. She said $2,800.
$2,700 a month, all in. It is $2,200 a month.
The insurance.
It's $2,200 for the note, and it is
the note is $2,000.
It comes together when you add the insurance. Excuse me. Yes. So that's why I said in my context, if you can't come up with 10,000, we don't have no business being married, because you bought this knowing you had already bought the ring, knowing you were proposing, and he proposed the same month or the following month. And
so here's the issue. Yes, he hadn't actually proposed, but he was going to propose, according to her. So according to her, he was going to propose. He proposed that same month. He did all of this all in an area, all in the same time frame. So in that area, he could have literally, stopped the major car payment and gone, do you know what? All right, let me get something smaller and then put the money away. So what she's saying is that it's more about the importance and the priority. That's what it really is, right? It's more about the priority, okay, rather than actually being about the money per se. It's the priority. Because if I know, and again, I want to put this across to you, if somebody is consolidating their debts or whatever, right, and instead of them consolidating the debts and recouping some of the money so they can pay you back, they go and get something even more as expensive, meaning they've got no money left to pay you back. You're going to be very frustrated. It's priorities, and it makes it feel like you don't have me as number one priority, right? Yeah, so that's probably why it felt that way.
Knowing that you wanted to get married within a year. And so every month you sat there and paid that almost $3,000 for a vehicle to make you feel good. Well, you know how I feel today. No. Very upset. Very frustrated by that. Because also, I didn't know, I don't understand how cars work all the way, but I knew that I was expecting that, yeah, you trade two in. And he did say that it would be equal, but he deceived me in that he acted like it had to be you acted like it had to be an expensive car.
I told you it has to be a car with enough markup to absorb negative equity.
To clarify, he was basically trying to explain why the Porsche made sense, right?
Okay.
And what I'm saying,
and in some regards, the Porsche does make sense. In some regard, okay, in some regard, it does make sense, but it's more of a bet. Like I said, he probably could have chosen another car with a bit more of a markup, but not necessarily the craziest amount. But he was trying to, in his head, he's thinking about the fact that I got to make business. Okay, I've consolidated two cars, but if I decide to fold now, I could potentially lose out on being able to flip that last card and finally get a full house. It's almost not knowing when to stop gambling and when to consolidate. And that's probably the issue that we're seeing now with Rashid, to make it fair to him, right? It's the issue of whether this is a consolidation or whether we're going to take another gamble. And sometimes, sometimes doing that gamble that you take cannot pay off, right? As well. So that's another thing.
saying is today you acknowledge you didn't need that fancy car, but
Right.
more specifically, I drive a Maserati. And I said, babe, why don't we just drive my car till you figure it out? And then maybe, or even just like get like a base model Beamer or base, you know, like something with like a reasonable $500 payment. He told me, I can't drive your Maserati. It's too small.
Not him looking at her like, hold on a minute. I did not say it like that. Now, Symone be putting 2 on 10, and that sometimes can be frustrating. I can't lie to you. Look at his face on Symone. Why has she got this cheeky smile on her face? He's like, you're putting 2 on 10. You're putting 2 on 10. Like, you're putting 2 on 10 right now. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? He's looking at her like, you're putting 2 on 10. Stop it.
I did. I said,
Yeah. So so what I'm saying is reflecting back, I'm like, I probably could have added these up together and realized like it was worse than what I was aware of a while ago, because he's not too small. It was a Maserati SUV. He's not too small for it. But more than that, it took me a while to realize it's because when I approached it, I thought, oh, it's easy facts. I'm a lawyer and a finance major. But I didn't realize the core of the problem is what's never been addressed.
Right.
What causes him to make those choices.
So when you saw, was it with the video that he recorded, was that,
That's the main thing.
had you heard a lot of that in y'all's dating thing? Has he ever been that vulnerable and share with you the depths of his pain, the depths of his?
Yes, he had. And I knew that the core, like when we were on Ready to Love together and we had a date in the back of the truck, he shared with me his experiences with being labeled early on and how it impacts him to this day. So I was always sensitive of that. And I always knew that was a foundational issue with respect to why he's so addicted to image.
So I think now they're addressing the fact that he has the fact that I think he's ADHD and how his upbringing as well, how that's contributed towards him liking image and him wanting image. And so in that respect, she's saying that she's aware of the foundation, but she decided to go forward. So that's quite interesting. Okay.
And it made sense to me. And so if you're doing something destructive, but I understand how you got there, I think my expectation is that I can love you out of this trauma. I can love you into health, and that we could figure it out and work amongst the drama and get better. I mean, therapy, he did try therapy. And so, because I think if I hadn't identified the cores, and in the video, he talks about the core reasons being labeled special needs, special ed in second grade, correct?
Right.
The second one was infidelity, being cheated on because he felt because he didn't make enough money, so to speak. Is that correct? Am I saying it? Right. Basically, he was cheated on.
Hold on. Was that the ex-wife that cheated on him because he didn't make enough money? That is wild, yo. That is wild. That's, I don't know. Is that the ex-wife who cheated on him because he didn't make enough money? Was that the ex-wife? I don't know. All right, that's interesting.
Because he was not making money as a school teacher, and then encouraged to change careers. He has, and he's been a rock star in this career. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
You know, it's interesting as well because, like Symone, like myself, you know, I think, you know, like Symone, myself, I think the interesting thing is, even here, she's kind of trying to advocate for him. So by her telling the story about his background, she's almost trying to advocate for him, right? Trying to cover him in some aspect, and trying to soften the blow about how bad it actually was. And I think that's interesting because people who do that oftentimes are protective people, but they also have been usually unprotected. You know what I mean? So I think what she, even by her telling the story again about his, you know, childhood, she's almost trying to do a protection piece. And I'm not saying that she's protecting everything, but I think she's almost trying to cover him in some aspect as well, right? So yes, she's telling a story, but I think she's trying to at least she's trying to tell it in a particular way to kind of bring a protection about, you know, his upbringing, you know, and you know, what he's gone through as a way to kind of rationalize why he does what he does. You know. Oh, was it his ex? Who's it? His ex. So what? No, she cheated because he kept being financially dishonest and she found another outlet. Rashid admitted it. His ex was dead wrong though. Okay, so she cheated basically because she wanted to cheat. That ain't because he was financially dishonest. She cheated because she wanted to cheat. That's the reason. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to do with that's to do with him. Let's go.
For sure. And then thirdly, you tell me about your father, because I couldn't understand why you keep wanting to open businesses but not be a businessman.
Explain that. You said you can't understand why he wants to open up businesses and not be a businessman. And
Correct.
you said that, how does that connect with his father?
And that connects with his father. I just think he doesn't know how, perhaps, but he was saying his dad died at 52, very young, of mesothelioma.
So again, she's kind of given his background rather than actually allowing for him to give the background. You know, is that too? Like, again, she's the one giving his background rather than him. Now, of course, we know he's given a bit of his background on his own video, but again, once more, she's advocating for him by giving the background. And it's like, it should really be him giving his background. Unless she's using it to make a point, succinct and, together. But if you keep on trying to give his background, you're still doing the advocacy for him in some sense. Like, let him explain the background and how it applies to certain behaviors. But she's still trying to fix even in this moment by doing that. She's still trying to fix in this moment. She's still trying to figure out. She's still trying to understand. She's still trying to apologize. Sorry, guys. The water is just catching up with me. And she's still trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and then she's trying to send it to us to almost package it in a particular way. But baby, just let him speak. Don't worry about it. It's given that, but it's giving, when those bad kids have those parents. Some of you are those parents, and you know exactly what you're doing. When those kids have those bad parents, and those parents go and talk for the child to the teacher, that's what it's giving. Yeah, even when the child is wrong, that parent will still talk to the teacher, reckless, saying about my child won't be disrespected. Those kind of parents that will defend their child in anything, right? Like, and you as a kid, as the friend or a friend of that kid, you're like, that kid's bad, but that mother come in there defending him or her, all up. Shouting and screaming at the teacher, even though they don't know their own child is a reckless maniac. Yeah, that's what it's given.
Mesothelioma. He worked blue collar. He worked on the shores, longshoremen. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he explained to me that his father always opened businesses, and they would last for a little while and they would go under, but he was always entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And he felt like his life was taken too soon, and he wants to pick up that torch and be successful in business to carry on his father's legacy.
Understandable.
Made perfect sense. And now I understand where that comes from. So when you come to me with this particular idea, which is it's not a bad idea. It's just, we got to get a retirement first. We got to get a retirement before you talk about working 2 jobs and, different things like that. So for me, I came to realize that, like, what I'm dealing with is a person who, I feel that what we've identified, the way that it impacts your life is the same way as a gambler. You make certain gambles, and you have such optimism. You hope things are going to go a certain way. And then when they don't, it's like, oh, shoot. Now what do I do? And in this situation, it was, oh shoot, what do I do? And I looked around, because I've been sacrificing. I felt like I've sacrificed throughout our relationship. I
feel like I've been sacrificing. Again, she's making it again. It's the I've been doing this, I've been doing that, I've been doing this kind of energy. Now, sir. Okay. Now, sir. I said now, sir. Now, madam. Sorry. You're saying obviously as well, that, again, it's gone back to the I've been doing this. That's what the pain is. The pain is that she feels like she's done the most in this relationship and hasn't got return, I need her to stop explaining his situation. We don't need it. He can talk for himself. Like, don't advocate. There's certain parts where he doesn't need advocating for. He can advocate for himself. Right? Absolutely. What it should have been called off was for the gambling spirit. Yes, that's what it should have been called off for, but it wasn't, which is kind of peak.
But I felt like this is not a time when I'm tired of covering for you. I'm not willing to do it. And this was the time that I needed you to show up for me the most, and you chose not to.
It's interesting the stuff that you that he unpacked in that episode. Gosh, I mean, it's so interesting because, of course, a lot of that hits close to home with, you know, family members of mine and stuff. So when you look at him being labeled as special needs or being in special ed classes, my son Armani has been very transparent about it. And one of the things that when I adopted him, the first thing he said, I need to get out of special ed. And he said, I need to. And I said, Armani, you're brilliant. I said, go prove. I'm trying to choke up. I said, go prove to those people that they miscategorized you. They got you in the wrong classes. And I remember we were enrolling him sophomore year. Was it the first? It was sophomore year. And the lady was going in enrollment, everybody in line. And the lady just yelled out. She looked at his transcript. She said, oh, you in special ed? We didn't ARD. And they had all. I mean, he'll get mad if the teacher didn't give him the assignment on time. I was like, Armani, why you get? I can't be failing. I need him to get my stuff together. And I was like, and here it is, a kid that was in special ed. So what hits hard for me is, or my heart opens for Rashid, is because no one would ever understand the gravity of what that feels like. What that feels like to go to school and be bullied in a sense from, and even if they're not even bullying you outwardly, you're going to be bullying yourself inwardly because you're going, I know I'm stupid. I think I about this, they got me here. And these are the professionals. So if they say I'm not operating on the same level of everybody else. And so it's a lot. And so when I was hearing them talk, I was like, gosh, my heart goes out to my son. I hear what he says behind the scenes about even his own not feeling valuable in certain areas. And so I resonated and connected with Rashid because of what I deal with. From that, you're like, oh, okay, so now I'm getting some love from this. And so they have and what they do and not who they are. And so that's paid it, but I still deserve to be married. And so what happened was, yes, I was, because you have two.
2022. Yeah. Because remember, it was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You flew had all my family fly in. Surprised me afterwards.
Lord, geez, when I say God be so intentional on stuff, and I just can't take it no more.
I thought y'all planned it this way. I thought that, okay.
No,
this was coincidental.
No, it was just straight up. I said, when can you come? And he said, well, Symone finna go to Essence. So, so I said, she going to Essence. So he's like, well, we got to do it right before fly in. We can do a turnaround. I was like, all right, whatever. Let's just do it. And that's what happened. And so that's just, that just hits a whole lot differently. So when you saw him bare his soul to the world, what did you think? Do you think it was just a ploy to just get attention?
I busted out crying. So
now, before it gets anywhere further, I'm gonna leave it here. I think we've done a good 1 hour 20 minutes. Because I know I'll end up going over my time, but I'm gonna leave it here. This is part one. I think we probably end up doing 4 parts because I think half an hour will be enough time to get it sorted. But no, listen, I think this is a good breakdown first and foremost. I think hour 20 is good. There's some interesting situations, like I said, with Symone and Rashid. And I think there's more to break down from, right? We're going to focus more on the body language again next breakdown tomorrow. I'll probably do it much earlier for you guys as well, because I want to be able to kind of, get it early and done in the mornings for you guys. But no, this is real. I mean, being labeled is something that can literally can change destinies as well. Being labeled can change destinies. So I understand the conversation around labeling and not being labeled something as well, right? So I do get that part as well, so I understand that as well. All right, cool. Listen, I want to say this first and foremost. If you haven't already done so, make sure you like this live. If you haven't already done so, make sure you guys join our membership as well. Yes, we would love for you guys to join a membership. We do lives every 2 weeks. We had a great live the other day. We did a Zoom call, private Zoom call with about 20-30 people. We went into breakout rooms, had different discussions. It was a really good conversation as well. So really enjoyed it. Those of you who joined for the Zoom call, we appreciate you as well, because that was crazy. I loved it, man. It was sick to have different rooms people go into and different conversations and just have 5 or 6 people just discussing different things that were going on. So yeah, we hope to be doing a lot more as the time goes out throughout the year as well. So if you haven't already joined the membership, join the membership, baby. Okay, we'll be back in about 20 minutes or so. We'll be talking Ready to Love in about 25 minutes. So make sure you join us for that live as well. Like it again on your way out. We had over 650 people in the room. Thank you so much. I appreciate that as well. And yeah, honestly, it's appreciated. You can join the membership down below. It's a dollar or a pound for you guys. So if you haven't joined the membership already, join that as well. It's a pound or a dollar. If you haven't done so as well, join the Patreon, because what you experience as a member is actually for the Patreon members. So I gave a little taster to the members. For those of you who are supporting me, and I really do appreciate you supporting me. The Patreon members will be getting the exclusive Zoom calls, because those are crazy good. I can't lie to you. I enjoy that as well. So $1, £1. You can join the membership as well. We'll have some separate lives differently. And for those of you who are also interested in having a community outside of this place and talking TV shows, the Patreon is a place for you guys as well. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to love you. I'm going to appreciate you. We're going to see you soon. Don't do anything I wouldn't do out there. We're back in 20 or so minutes for Ready to Love. It's going to be, I know that's weird sometime. Okay, let me stop that. Anyway, let's get out of here. But before I do, you already know, I'm going to leave you a little something.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
And I gotta leave you with something, because as always, when you come here, you gonna leave with something.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Much appreciation, guys.